Welcome, race fans, then to round 4 of the ACC League here by Deviant Racing. Apologies for my tardiness. I obviously managed to pick up the wrong start time for today, but we are here, and I think we're just about in time. Nismo has managed to out-qualify Viciously Vic, it seems, in the racing conditions, and we have then R3. Or Rico, I should say, as P3 with Nate in P4. Camzilla in 5th, Bonga in 6th with Larry in 7th and Timid Umbrian in 8th position. Mojo is in 9th with Priest in 10th. And then the first of the GT3 drivers, Preston Edward Nedlow, is in 11th place, or first in class, of course, with Siam, Chaotica, Jim Arnott, Backmarker Racing, all qualifying. But Commentator unable to set a time, it seems, unfortunately, which is most unusual for Commentator. So clearly struggling in qualifying, but we will obviously keep track of his progress throughout the race. 35 seconds to go. Let's see how much of the standings I can get through to you before we get underway. Shouldn't be any surprise as to who is currently leading the championship. That is, of course, Viciously Vic, having won all 3 of the races outright, and he has 111 points overall. In second is Mr. Fish, Nat is third, Camzilla 4th, Bongit 5th, Farfighter or Larry in 6th, with Timid Umbrian, K, Morris, Commentator, Zanshin, Nismo, Saito and Serial Killer, the GT3 drivers. Well, it looks like we are getting ready to race. I want to say it's I think it's put me in a car. I think it's going to put me in a car. Tell me it hasn't put me in a car. Confirm. Come on, Aseto, let's have you. Of course, I just want to make sure that if Larry is watching, please let me assure me that that it has, in fact, the password you just gave me is going to give me spectator rights. Let's try again and see if this lets me in now, because I'm not 100% sure about this one. The race is on, and I don't have a spectate. I don't have spectate, unfortunately. Okay. Normally, Drive just lets me spectate, but it has decided to put me in the car. Here we go. Okay, so we have got Mojo. We are doing our start facility here at the moment. Backmarker, it looks to be possibly a little bit late. Let's see if we can get a better camera angle for you. I think we are just about going to do it. That was Commentator at the back. This is Larry with the red stripe and the matte black finish. Bonga in 7th, Chaotica in the Porsche GT3. That's Jim racing in the McLaren in the GT3s as well. This then is Viciously Vic. We will perhaps watch him because he is P1 at least, usually P1 anyway. I think he's actually going to start P2, is he? No, he is at the head of the field. He's got I think a German celebration livery today. Usually races in all red for the Tifosi fans out there. Hi to Globus, great to have you with us. I'm very pleased to have you and everybody else who's joined us for the race today. This is Viciously Vic, though, at the head of the field, and he's just going round to get ready to start his race. Looks like we've got Rico behind him. I'm afraid for those of you who are unfamiliar, ACC randomly picks what driver I'm going to be watching. It doesn't seem to bear any real relation to standings, position on track even, which usually is the rumour, but it's not at all. This is Vic then getting ready for his race around the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. We are going to go for, it will be, I think this will be the 3.199 mile configuration, and the drivers are going to double up here, go double file. P2 alongside Vic there, getting ready to get underway. Who was that? Says Glovas. I'm not sure who you mean. It might have been Jim that we were watching earlier on. But getting ready then for the green flag race, for an hour's race around the Nurburgring Grand Prix. Already quite a lot of pickup offline there, as you can see, and the flags are waving and the drivers are ready to go. And it looks like Vic has already got himself a good start ahead of the Lexus there in P2. Did I not see the car in the dirt and crash? I'm afraid I did not, no. But we will check that out in a moment. Vic getting away very nicely indeed to start with. I'm hoping you've got some game sound, because right now I do not, so I'm just going to help myself to a little bit of game sound. That will help me. Jim Arnett in 14th position, being released by one of his rivals behind him, unfortunately there. That's Chaotica in P12, just getting through. The driver's very well behaved lap 1 typically here. Bongett is in 5th place, racing almost in the green and gold of Australia here. These really should be Larry's colours in the car number 80, and he is 5th on track. He is, 5th in the overall position. The drivers are taking it very, very steady. I think we're having a VSC format at the moment. So I haven't seen Glovas, the car that was off the circuit, unfortunately. It does feel like the drivers are just touring at the moment and waiting to get a race control position. All the drivers on track at the moment are certainly within a shout here of the start. I wonder if they've been given a 2-lap warm-up phase. But no, now up to racing speed, and Timid Umbrian is in P14, not qualifying well out of his normal position here, but there's plenty of racing still to go. Just behind Larry on track then is Timid Umbrian, T Deeds, as many will know him. Of course, a bit of a slide happening from the BMW behind of Priest, it looked like, just struggling to get the rear tyre temperature running. A bit of dust and dirt here and there being picked up by the drivers and kicked up into other drivers' faces. This is Camzilla in the red and blue, one of the BMWs there, racing in P5, and it looks to be some battling going on at the head of the field. I need to try and get hold of that one. Priest is some way back. This then is what's happening. Oh, wow. This was running through my track map is completely upside down, excuse me for a second. But a Webo sponsored team says Glovas. Nice, we'll keep an eye out for that one. And running across the line to start the next lap then, we've got our Lexus driver of Rico trying to turn into a gap that really wasn't what was certainly full of Camzilla. I think that's Camzilla being knocked backwards in the race order at this stage, with the Swiss flag on the front, which is a big plus to have on the car. But this is Rico, so trying to turn right through the hairpin of turn 1, and just happening upon, I think, Camzilla in his blind spot. Whoa, and knocking every single cone flying there was Rico. So quite loose at the moment, Rico. He's certainly scarred and battered that Lexus already. In P4, in front of him is Nate and Vic, but Nismo leads us at this stage. Nismo, who has been an absolute revelation in the GT World Challenge GTD Pro Series at Deviant Racing League this season, is arriving to race with us and showing his form immediately. Siam in P13 has, I think, been passed by Commentator, who started right at the back of the grid thanks to his poor qualifying position, but that means that Commentator then, the GT3 driver, has already managed to pass most of the GT4s. He's just got, I think, Preston up ahead, and in fact he's already passed Preston, has Commentator, so moving through the order, very nice indeed. Then we've got Nate struggling across the chicane here, the Vidal chicane. You need to be aggressive through there, but not quite that aggressive as the McLaren getting a little bit bumped and bruised going over the curb, but Nate is in that P3. And behind him is Rico, and I believe it's Bongit with Larry in P6 further back. Again, it's very difficult to use the curbs well here at the Nurburgring. It has a curb profile all of its own. Usually favours the drivers getting hooked up into some of the inside curbs to help the car with rotation, but often you can push that a little bit too far. Let's try and find you our leader. As Glover's saying, just me here. Well, we have got other watchers, but you're certainly the only one chatting at the moment, Glover. So it's great to have you, and you can go ahead and keep me company throughout the course of the race. We've got Mojo here in P9. Hasn't raced with us before on the channel anyway. He may have done race 1, but of course I didn't do race 1. We will have a slight change to the schedule as posted, but I'll talk to you a little bit more about that. That then is Nismo in the kind of gold, red and black, and the Ferrari taking him to a very good, strong position. The Ferrari, a very well favoured car, and in the hands of Vic has been utterly dominant so far. But so far today, Nismo, let's see how the race pace goes, but his initial pace is absolutely flying, and I think Vic will be very pleased to have somebody to fight with. Don't forget though that ACC is ready to snap and chuck you off the race track at any given moment. We are also there are rumours of a potential rain shower today here at Nurburgring near the Eiffel Mountains in Germany. But a new fastest lap then coming in from Nismo, beating viciously Vic, who's currently racing in P2. Nate's in 3rd and Rico down in 4th. Here is Vic just navigating that inside curb. It is absolutely brutal in comparison to other sim platforms. The curb profile and height here in ACC is absolutely frightening for our drivers. A nice new livery from Vic. It's great to see some variance going on already. His red was a little off for me. It was a little bit orangey in the previous races, and he's chosen a scarlet, yellow and black. I'm assuming in honour of the German race location today. I don't know what that was. Forgive that one, as Jim is racing right at the very back of the grid at the moment in the McLaren. Hasn't been a good start to the race, but the GT3s now definitely spreading away from the GT4s in blue on your track map. This is chaotic. It's great to have such a big field as well. The field building. 16 drivers with us today, and hopefully we can continue to grow here at the ACC League. And that, I think, might be Siam. That might have been Siam off on the circuit. Let me try and get you an image of Siam at the moment, because that would be quite unusual to see him off the racetrack. That was Siam, and he is circulating. He's dropped to the back of the field. He's got significant bonnet damage, hood damage there on the Aston Martin. It was once a very pretty car. It is now no longer, unfortunately, getting those accolades. And we will see if this means for Siam a pit stop is imminent. An off-schedule pit stop as well will be most inconvenient for him. But down to 16th place overall, 5th in class, 5th of 5th in class for Siam, sadly, with that off-track excursion. Nate, as we've known him, he's dropped back from his 3rd position earlier on. He's now down into 6th place, and following Camzilla and Larry, hot on their heels. Let's perhaps try and give you some onboard, as we've got lots of drivers directly in front here of Nate over the tricky Mercedes Arena section corners here, going through turn 4 and 5. It's down the RTL straight before heading into turn 6, which is very quickly followed, of course, by turn 7, the Ford curve. Big handful of opposite lock on the corner exit then out of Ford. Very similar profile corner, just a few more degrees of turn coming up then into Dunlop Kurve. Not quite getting the racing line, but picking up a very late apex, early throttle application for Nate. And heading then up the hill to the Michael Schumacher S. We go. Now we can continue pointing uphill, and right at the crest of the hill we get the Kumho Kurve in turn 11. Then we're going into the Bit Kurve, incredibly important curve, the Bit Kurve, for the drivers to navigate. You can just see the amount of change of steering input that is happening for Nate here in the McLaren at this stage. As he heads up then uphill towards the Vidal chicane, super late braking, big rear end slide then heading into the Vidal chicane, well rescued from Nate, and then really washing out into that final curve, the Coca-Cola curve, as we have a look back at the driver working the wheel. Very poor visibility actually out of this McLaren, certainly from the rear, and as he heads down the hill towards that very difficult, very slow hairpin right at the very bottom of the elevation change here in Nurburgring. You can see he is struggling to get the car into the apex at this stage, but that may be a good thing, because the car may come to him later on in the proceedings. That's Siam down at the back, still trying to get on terms here. Didn't pit. He's still right there, as we've got a real battle going on with Bongett and Camzilla. Looks like Camzilla with a great overtake running through, as Bongett then has to feed back in. Apologies for the car choice at the moment. That was Backmarker Racing. This is Mojo down in 8th place right now in the yellow Aston Martin with black accents, as Nismo comes through and has opened up a beautiful gap of 10 seconds to Rico, because it looks like Vic has had a problem and dropped down to 9th place in overall. Vic has clearly been off circuit. We have a Vic and a Rick, but Vic has clearly been off circuit, and it is not going swimmingly for our so far dominant triple race winner of the season. Vic down in 9th at this stage of the race, with about a fifth of the race complete so far. Back to Jim then in 15th. This is Chaotica running in 13th place, as we have him knocking on the door of P1 in class, but some 14 seconds behind Preston, Ed, and they had a great battle last race. This is Bongett then, and in front of Bongett we have a battle between Nat and Camzilla. Camzilla really moving forward as Camzilla makes his move, going through the Coca-Cola curve at the end of the lap. Tremendous overtake then from Cam, as he's cleared both Bongett and Nate, and now in front of Camzilla is Larry, who's brought himself up to 3rd position. Nate goes very wide through the first corner, Castrol turn 1, and we have a really great battle going on from 2nd Rico all the way to Bongett here, as we ride with Bongett in that P6 Porsche in the green and gold. Again, it looks like Nate's really struggling right now. I don't know if he's got some damage on the car, but clearly that car not wanting to turn in to the corners, as looking for the opportunity around the outside, and perhaps now this will be the inside line going in towards Dunlop. Bongett no way through. Glover says, are the blue dots Group 4? Correct, yes, that is the difference, and you'll see them on the mini tower. They have a blue triangle in the bottom right corner of their race number. That also denotes a GT4 driver. Exactly right, Glovas. Yeah. Then we've got rain that came all of a sudden, a little bit like movie rain outside of a studio window. There was someone just turned a hose on over the drivers, and now we're going to be rolling the dice. Let's get on board, shall we, with a driver, because we will get a feel of what they can see. I won't go fully on board with them, but you can see then the rain tracking up the windshield wipers running. Of course, Bongett is clearly taking this a lot more carefully than Nate in front, who has suddenly found some pace now that it's started to rain. We may have a driver in the pits. That looks like car number 5 has pitted. So I will keep my eye to see who that is. That's definitely one of the GT4s. Bongit very nervous here. Behind him, TD, it's Tim Umbrian in the BMW, trying to go German manufacturer head-to-head here. Bongit moving up. That's Chaotica and Jim. And then back with Vic, who's now back to 6th. Well, I do believe he's running 8th. So he's gone behind every other driver in his class, has he? But certainly in Hungary, he did not enjoy the rain at the very end of the race. So let's see if Vic has been able to put a bit more wet practice in. But this really is rolling the dice for our drivers. Looks like we've got a yellow flag for car number 24, who is off the circuit between Kumho and Bitkurve, turns 11 and 12 at the south side of the circuit there. So the drivers will be closing in on that incident as we speak. Can we see anything? No. Looks like they might have got themselves moving again. But this is Vic then, P7 currently, and swimming around a little bit, just passing Timid Umbrian, who had a problem there, getting through the corners as we head into what is now the Vidal chicane section. And there goes another problem. I think that was Timid Umbrian. Again, I'm trying to find him as he runs wide, goes straight off the circuit onto the wet grass. There's zero grip out there, and then he's looking for a safe rejoin opportunity here. As we try to, well, we slow to an absolute crawl to make sure we're not hampering another driver. But yeah, unfortunately, not running well here for Timid Umbrian. We'll get ourselves a rear view, perhaps, just to see what else is happening. Just about see through there. And you can see that that hood is about to pop, and he's going to be in trouble. So heading through, declining the pit lane, happy enough to run the race currently on slick tyres in the wet. But many of our drivers have decided against that strategy. This is Camzilla, as we try and get you that rear camera. Here we go. We can see the pit lane now with Camzilla running in P4 thanks to pitting. Let's get you a car on track, but just about the whole field now into the pit lane. But we've got Rico in P10 right now. Comma Copa has picked up a drive-through penalty. That is usually a speeding in the pit lane offence. This is the Lexus driver, Rico. He must have put the wet tyres on already. He's down to P10, and he's attacking this racetrack with absolute conviction. Very little sliding going on, so must have a form of wet weather tyre on. I wish my display would tell me the tyre choices, and popping straight up into P4 and getting past many other drivers. So obviously making the call early on was Rico, and getting back to 4th place. TD's Timid Umbrian out in 3rd place at the moment. Car number 15. This is 14. This is Rico in the Lexus. Great to see one of the Lexus cars out on track. Gets a little bit of a slide going on, but actually going very nicely indeed at this stage. We've got looks like we've still got Vic in 2nd. Nismo, I say still got Vic in 2nd. I mean, he was down in 9th earlier on, so he's picked his way back up, making good strategic decisions. This is a much better looking Aston Martin than the last time we saw him. See him and managing to get that hood reseated back into its proper position, and they've even polished it a little bit for him as well. So see him down in 16th in the GT4 category. This is Nate then in the McLaren number 189, running 8th right now. He has been much higher than this, but clearly this wet weather portion, and he's just behind Larry on track as well. Let's ride with him. This is Nate as we follow Larry as well. just wait for the next error, really, from anybody. And unfortunately, that was Lowry running super wide out of Cumho corner as we head into Bit Cover. We've also got Bongit rejoining the track into almost the path of the drivers alongside him, but no harm done there, thankfully. So that's a lot smoother then for Nate as Bongit gets up to speed. He's got a very scratched up car, but getting the braking action done down into the Vidal chicane is tremendously hard in this wet conditions. There are puddles on the racetrack, and they will be just navigating their way through these ones. The official pit stop window is open, so they all have to make one pit stop, and it can only count if it is done between the 40-minute and the 20-minute to go phase. That's Jim just coming out of the pit lane, and that is Nate almost getting into the back of Larry, and you can see the lengths to which our drivers go to avoid making contact, because the contact penalties are absolutely prohibitive here in ACC. We see a stop-go penalty has been given to Jim, and that was during his pit stop, so I'm not entirely sure what that was for. Backmarker Racing is in P13, not living up to his name today. P13 overall of the 16 drivers, so having a smoother time of it. That was another car off the circuit, and there goes Mojo, running out of mojo perhaps in the yellow and black Aston, and struggling then to get the car braked well enough through the Mercedes-Benz Arena section of the circuit. So lots and lots of slipping and sliding going on here. These GT3 cars and GT4s feel like boats at the best of time in dry conditions. Imagine how difficult this is feeling for everybody. Glovas enjoying it so far anyway. We need to get you into ACC, Glovas, I think. Although I don't know how much freedom you have to use your fantastic livery editing skills. I think things are quite blocky and limited here. But Nismo is down into third. Glovas says no thanks to ACC. Spill the beans. Why is that? Are you very attached to GT7, or what's the deal? What's the reluctance about for me? Glovas. This is Nismo. Was first in class and overall, of course, but now he's dropped down to third place. He's damaged that Ferrari. Clearly been having struggles here. Interesting to see red lights aglow underneath the front of the Ferrari under braking. I'm quite sure what that is all about. Vic is back into first position, and he's gained 44 seconds on Nismo right now. It looks like Ned is also in doing a fantastic job. He's in 12th overall, first in his position, of course, in his class. We've got T-Deeds, Timidumbrian, who's got his way into second place. And honestly, these drivers, it's a 50-50 call whether they're going to get into a corner or not at this stage. Mojo, we saw sliding earlier. Let's try and find you somebody else to watch as Vic here now. I say I don't have his tyre selection to help me at the moment, but it looks like he hasn't taken a pit stop when other people have. He's deciding to ride out the pit stop window opening phase. Was that a possibility of an easing of the rain, possibly? Clever saying it's the livery editor for starters. Nice, but he wouldn't want to embarrass everybody on a Saturday and a Sunday. Yeah, it's a good line. It's a good line. Stop and go penalty still to pay for Jim, unfortunately. Not enjoying this trip to Germany today. I don't think, Jim, at this stage. Here is Chaotica in the GT4 Porsche. I have to say, Glovas, I mean, I've tried this, and I did find it strangely addictive. It is horribly difficult, but strangely addictive. But unfortunately, now I have my VR, I am quite hesitant to get involved in sim platforms that don't have it. I've become a terrible VR snob. This is Pongit just putting a lap on Backmarker Racing at this stage in the Porsche. Backmarker Racing, though, his Mercedes looks a lot nicer, in better condition, I should say, than Bongit's. And he's got the hood popping there, about to jump up in front of his face. So he's really going to have to spend some time in the pits repairing during the pit stop window. Usually see drivers pitting around the halfway mark for obvious reasons. And you're also doing VR, Glovas. That's excellent to hear. It is crazy, isn't it? How you just don't want to go flat screen racing anymore. Commentator is braving it as a VR driver. He's here, braving it. And you prefer the feel in GT7? Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you tried it anyway. At least Commentator's been playing with the livery editor a little bit here as well, and it's looking something. Glovas, I want to know your reviews of everybody's livery choices. I think as well. This is a very shiny, quite modern take on liveries. Commentator does like his bright, shiny liveries, I have to say. Generally speaking, he's in 11th. He started right at the very back of the grid today, thanks to problems in qualifying. But 0 out of 10 across the board, no stickers. Okay. I think this was perhaps the one you were suggesting was a Webo sponsored ACC car, was it? With the blue and the orange, the Gulf colour combination. This is the Alpine, a very odd choice for me to choose, but clearly it's working for Ned, who has been doing a great job in the GT4 Championship. Aston is the prettiest car, you think. It is a very nice looking car. It's a nice sounding car as well. The Alpine is a very odd car. It really doesn't look like a GT3 racer for me, compared to all the others in the field. But he really does love it, and why not? Leading his class, as he has done frequently throughout this season. And we go back then to Timid Umbrian in the battered and bruised BMW. I quite like this colour choice for the Beamer. It is looking quite nice for me anyway. And he's in P3. He can see Nismo 2.2 seconds, so that was the car that you could see directly in front of the car we're riding on board with. This is T Deeds then. Let's try and get you some POV footage for a moment. Wow, crawling along. The rain has stopped. The windshield wiper has locked itself almost in the vertical position. So it's looking good. As Glovas telling me that this BMW is good. The red one, I think that's Camzilla's red and blue. You like as well, or the make. Oh, okay, so an overall red one. So it might have been the Ferrari of Vic with the dark red tail, rocking the German colours today. And this is T Deeds on board as he is chasing down. That's Preston in front, leading GT3s, but this is to put a lap, of course, on the GT4. And T Deeds doing a great job at this stage, I have to say. We get a rear view going. Not quite. The rain light's still on the car for T Deeds. Nothing happening behind him as we sit in what would be the passenger seat, although of course the passenger seat has been removed. Level of detail on the interiors is amazing. It's almost like he's got a stream deck to his right there. Pit window still open, of course, and we're approaching the halfway period of our 1 hour endurance race here around ACC's Nurburgring Grand Prix. This is round 4 of the championship. This is the Camzilla choice. That is looking good actually out there. I like the white pinstripe trim lines as well. And he can see Camzilla in P4. He can see he's got Ned Preston in front as T Deeds Timid Umbrian has just gone through. And Glover saying the BMW is just so good looking. It is a very aggressive looking GT3 racer. I'm not usually a fan of BMWs at all, just across the board, but yes, the GT3s, the hypercars as well. I think the hypercars look amazing in BMW, so that's a big one for me. Is that BMW hypercar in the WEC series, and of course in rocking IMSA as well, I believe. Putting a lap then on the GT4 is Camzilla as well. Currently in that P4 as the track continues to dry out, and we see a little bit of action there. Who was that just passing us? I think that was some laps going on to Backmarker Racing. So that was Mojo in the yellow. This is Priest in the, I think, kind of bluey grey. Not quite sure, gunmetal grey, possibly. Here for Priest in the number 74. And he is now catching to pass for a lap Backmarker Racing, who has been getting better and faster throughout the course of the season already, which is great to see. This is Rico slipping down to P10 in the order, but he has now made his pit stop. His scheduled excuse me, I was just getting race control in my ear. His scheduled required pit stop has been made. That's why next to his number 14, it shows green. So he is looking then to try and massive under rotation of the front tyre there. He's looking to try and make his way past the drivers, get the undercut going, but he's got a new set of cold tyres on that are slicks, I'm assuming, and he's running on a drying track, and when he most needs that speed to make the undercut happen, he unfortunately ran wide and is struggling for grip out there to generate the tyre temperature he needs. And wide of the apex we go. Then getting a bit wiggly coming on out of the Schumacher S. We'll go through the Kumho corner now. Again, lots of opposite lock happening. We'll wait to see if we've got drivers in the pits at the moment. Car number 6 has pitted. No, car 68 has pitted. So correction on that. Car number 6 was just slowing to allow number 80 to pass. As we head up the hill towards the Vidal, and now it is feeling a lot drier, I think, out there. Just teasing the car into the corner and then constantly seesawing at the wheel to manage the oversteer on the exit. There you go, once again, and heading then away out of the final corner. The Coca-Cola curve comes. This is Rico, who picks up. I think just puts a lap on Jim, I think that was, who I think is in the pits, number 68. Yeah, he was just in the pits. He's served his stop-go penalty. He's now also fulfilled his required pit stop. So this is Rico heading in to turn 3, through turn 4 now. You can run wide, but perhaps not as wide as the car wanted to go for Rico in P10, and he now is happening to find Backmarker Racing. So Rico P10 putting a lap on the rearmost driver in class, Backmarker Racing in that 13th place. Back to trackside camera for a few minutes then as Nossium still has his pit stop to make. I think that most of our drivers appear to be waiting for the track to finish drying out and the sun to come out, and it has done now to fit their final set of tyres. So they're not dealing with tyres they can't get up to temperature too difficult in too difficult a fashion. There goes Nate passing the start-finish line. He is running in 3rd position. Your leader is still Nismo from Camzilla. Equidistant Camzilla from Nismo in front and Nate in 3rd. Then the dominant championship leader at the moment, Viciously Vic, only 4th, running, having made his pit stop some 13 seconds behind 3rd place Nate. We have Timid Umbrian in 5th and Larry in 6th place. All in the pits though, Timid Umbrian, Larry, Ned, all sitting in the pit lane and getting their fuel and tyres sorted for the remainder of our race. Looks like the weather has cleared up for them as well, so I don't see any weather forecast information that I would like to see here, but I was just told we had a rumour of rain. Oh, Nate, just trying to try and get that little bit of extra lap time, then picks up some water on the tyres as well as dirt and gravel. So Nate just running wide, sadly. Whoa, great fishtail slide going through the corner. Love that from him. That was going through the Schumacher S, the first part of the Schumacher S, and then quite a bit more calm into Kumho Curva is Nat this time. And then heading on out of bit curva. Still a little bit of water spray splashing up from the rear tyres. You can see occasionally as they cross over the racing line. Right there, you can see it. So the track's still not as dry as he would like it to be. And this McLaren is a real handful for Nate. He does cross over the pit lane entry line though, and heads on in to get his final set of tyres. Oh, that's Backmarker Racing. And he's trying to avoid contact with Siam there in the pit lane. That was an unsafe release from his team, unfortunately, as Mojo in 9th place has made his pit stop. Siam has not fulfilled his criteria yet. He is just in the pits getting that done. Just over 4 minutes remain, and I think that was Mojo warming his new tyres, but almost disappearing off the racetrack in so doing. It looks like they run out onto the grass on that corner, but it's not the case as they come through the turn 6 and 7 into Ford Curva turn 7. Coming out of the pits is P3 now. Nismo has been leading at points in the race. Vic has done the undercut, got the job done. You've got a Chicken Alfredo glove. That's nice. Okay, excellent. So look at the state of Nismo's Ferrari. You're not going to get much in trade-in value for this. It is, wow, that's not how Ferrari owners like to treat their Scuderia cars at all. So yeah, he'll be facing quite a hefty repair bill. That looks like every panel on every side of the car has got scratched up. I don't know if that was in. Well, that rear right looks okay, so I think you might get some discount back off the body shop for a complete respray. But goodness me, that is a bad-looking Ferrari if ever I've seen one. It's Nismo picking back up to P2 then, thanks to other pit stops. His deficit to Vic in P1, 23 seconds, as the sunlight now starts glinting off what's left of the paintwork on Nismo's car. There's a drive-through penalty for Siam, a drive-through penalty. As Clever said, Enzo will be coming back from the dead with the state of this Ferrari. I think you're onto it. So was this the red one you were talking about earlier, Vic, or was it the BMW driven by Cam Ziller? Because Vic is in the red-tailed Ferrari with the black front today, and of course he's got these weird red lights on the splitter at the front. That is risky for our race leader. He's in a hurry to get past Backmarker Racing, but very much going wide through the Coca-Cola Curva. Final turn here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix layout. It was Cam's that you preferred, the blue and red. Good, okay. I like this this change. It is a better looking car than Vic was racing earlier in the season, in my very humble opinion. But this is Vic then, racing at the head of the field. Comacopas is growing on you. Good to know. Very good to know indeed. And I didn't get to talk to you about the situation. So we had 3 races so far, and Vic has completed the win on all 3 of them. Ned has taken 2 wins in class for the GT4s and a 2nd place. That Siam has taken 1 win and 1 2nd place overall, and a 3rd, I believe, if I'm reading the point scoring correctly. So in GT4, Ned leads Siam by just 2 points overall, but some 8 points after a drop score. Chaotix is in 3rd place, Backmarker Racing in 4th, Leader Boy is in 5th, and someone I can't read their name. We've got Rudy. Rudy and Ozzy in the GT4s. Not all of them racing with us today, unfortunately. But Vic leads the championship ahead of Mr. Fish, who isn't here today. So this will be his drop score, he hopes. Nate in 3rd place, Cam Ziller in 4th, and Bongit with Larry, T. Deeds, K. Morris, Comacopa, Zanshin, Nismo, obviously with no scoring along with Saito and Serial Killer, who have all chosen to race with us but have been so far unable to race, with the exception, of course, of Nismo, who's now here in that second place. 20 seconds Vic leads Nismo's second place, and a further 10 then back to Rico in third. Back at the very back of the grid at the moment, this is Jim in the 68, who's been struggling today, it has to be said, unusually so. But ACC keeping Jim coming back for more here in the McLaren. Drivers able to commit a little bit more practice time, the ones that overlap with GT World Challenge at Deviant. They're obviously able to spend a bit more time in practice right now, with the exception perhaps of Commentator, who's racing elsewhere as well, that I know of. I mean, many drivers might be in multiple leagues, but certainly Deviant on its post-season phase right now. I think Deviant will be doing the draft pick. There he is. Glover's saying we've got the draft pick, we've got the playoffs as well happening on the Deviant Racing channel tomorrow. I think Zen's going to broadcast that. I'm not sure if it's Zen's channel or Deviant's channel. Yeah, stay tuned for that. And on this channel, I will be racing my third ever league race tomorrow as you watch it. Or you can watch it back, of course, later on. There are new ways to support this channel as well as the freebies that are liking and subscribing, but you can now join the channel, or you can send tips as well, which are all gratefully received. There's also a link to my new fledgling merch shop, and I have received my very first shirt order on my new merch shop, so you can check that out as well. Running out of the corner goes Chaotica, unfortunately, through turn 1, going wide. I think he was serving a blue flag instruction, but that was a little over generous from him. As Glover's saying, when do I start driving with you? I did the Christmas special with you guys, but yeah, I don't know. I have my hands full at the moment with my current league racing. Yeah, I get into trouble because I'm also commentating the race post-race that I am driving in, and so I have to be very careful how I refer to myself in that race. P9 is Bongit in the green and gold here. I think that when Larry sees this replay back, he'll be like, I want that. That is what I need to be driving in my country's colours here. So Bongit, kind of bit of gamesmanship, maybe choosing the Australian sporting colours for Bongit, who is, if I remember correctly, Canadian, but P9 in the Porsche in car number 80. This is Larry then in the matte black, almost Team Redline style Porsche, if Team Redline raced Porsches. I don't think, yeah, they must do, because Sebastian Job is racing with them. So yes, this is probably very similar to the Team Redline colour for him. FAR is on his windshield. That's his gamer tag that he's fixed for me, but his former gamer tag was Fart Fighter. So make of that what you will. Larry's in P6, enjoying a better race at the moment. It was the last couple of races have been an unending stream of bad luck and penalties for Larry. So far, this has been doing a much better. So he's going well. Oh, I'm being invited now to a 1v1 again. Okay. Bear in mind, I don't race GT cars, so that's a whole nother thing for me to try and pick up. Commentator is in 11th. You have to pair me with someone equally inexperienced, I think. Otherwise, you can't give me Nismo or Zen or something. Or yourself, of course. This is Commentator in P11. In the I'm struggling. The teal and magenta, I think, is probably the nearest colours. I'm sure Glover will have better descriptions for me. Random opponent, random card, double elimination. Okay. Oh boy, I'll give it a go. I can give it a go if I can make it work. You're going to go with cyan and magenta. Puce. I'm thinking back to Monsters Inc. now. Leave the Puce. It was a bit of a family favourite movie, that one, so it's been a bit of a family phrase around here, as well as 2319. You're going with fuchsia and cyan. Okay, cool. This is the leader of the GT4s in the odd-looking Alpine with a much nicer colour scheme, allowing the BMW to come through car number 74. That's Priest making his way through in P10, but Preston only 2 places back overall here, and a good gap out in front of the rest of his GT4 field, but it has been close run thing with Chaotica occasionally. So, big oversteer there from the BMW for a moment on his way through the corner. He's still struggling around. Now we've got T Deeds in his green and black, making his way through Coca-Cola Curva. We are 3/4 done already here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit, and Timid Umbrian is running in P7, and the gaps are now, as you would expect in endurance racing, pretty large. So we're just sort of randomly trying to find a driver who has a mistake or is doing some lapping portion, but let's ride on board, shall we, with Timid Umbrian for a little while and see. He's got his Race Logic gizmo in the car, just checking his lap times. Nice to hear the BMW as well for a few moments. Just use those different onboard pictures. This is sort of inside the helmet, I guess. I haven't actually looked at this one before, but you've kind of got some inner foam and rubber seal of the helmet in the car right now. It reaches down, does he? For something, maybe a small adjustment on the car momentarily. And then right on that aggressive scooped hood. And it's raining again, folks. We've got the headlights on. We've got the rain for the tail end of this race, and of course this caused all manner of problems earlier on. A lot of these guys drive cockpit on the TV. I always drive cockpit, whether I'm VR or not. But yeah, then you've got to very, very small. Are you one of those terrible chase cam people, or do you drive on the hood as if you've got a garden chair on the hood? You have to let me know on that one, Gravas. But Camzilla P4. Now it's about staying on this circuit, and when the rain came at the end of the Hungarian race, we were in for some thrills and spills, not least from our leader. So let's keep our eyes peeled for anyone who's struggling. Chase if on controller, bumper if wheel. So right in front of the car, you've got no reference points at all if you're racing on the bumper. Wow, man. So essentially in the grille is what you're going for. That is really tricky, I think, anyway. But yeah, I always, just as a purist, love to be on the cockpit camera, peering through the pillar box effect. This is Priest. Windshield wipers on automatically, of course, as he comes out of the corner behind Chaotica. That is Chaotica running in 14th overall. I think that makes him 3rd in class today, possibly. We'll have a look at him in a few moments. But another car that suffered some pretty big damage on the front. This Lexus is looking very neat and tidy from Rico, who's been keeping it very very clean so far. Not going to curse anybody as he heads into towards the pits. So he's decided that some intermediate tyres are the way to go, I think. So that is a surprise to me, but clearly the rain feeling pretty heavy as Siam's already in, getting a new set of Pirelli P0s on. This is Nate in the McLaren. Let's see what our drivers decide to do here. Nate has declined the pit lane at this particular point in the showers and way over the circuit then as he heads into turn 6. He's just going to shortcut turn 7. Be careful though, because the game could decree that you've completed a significant cut of the track. That's Chaotica fully alongside him here. Maybe next ACC I'll hop in a group 4. You've been tempted. Good stuff, Glavas. I hope to see you there. If you do, that'd be great. As Nate and people, though of course my main live chat contributor will have gone then, if that's the case. But you'll be better on track, I'm sure. You'll enjoy that. That's May 17th, a long ways away. Yeah, they're doing some special event, I think, next week. I was going to come back to the schedule. So May 17th should be the next time we have a scheduled race here. So this is Backmarker Racing in 14th, not at the back today, but Jim is chasing him down. So Jim is catching now. I'm that Will Smith meme in an empty room in this chat. Yeah. In the VIP section, I think we've got you here today. As Mojo is driving very well for someone who hasn't been with us long, in the mix here, and he's just 0.8 of a second behind Timid Umbrian, T-Deeds, as you may know him. So let's stay with this battle for a while. I think you hear that brake whine as the drivers have to come off the brakes, try and get the engine braking to work as well. So be really careful with your downshifts and timing. There you hear it, just horrible sound, but it does communicate something to the driver, at least, about what the brakes are able to do at any given time. This is heading up, whoa, over Steer City into the Schumacher S, and then there went T-Deeds, and that was the overtake for P4, unfortunately. It was very easily done, as they are starting to aquaplane in a big way now. This is Nismo in P2, and he is coming to put a lap and flashing aggressively at Chaotica. He's not in a hurry to, well, he is in a hurry, but he doesn't want to be held up here. We saw on this corner previously. Oh, wow, massive accident. That was, I think, Komakopa coming back on the circuit, possibly, or wide, but a huge one for Nismo. And he will now, he's got a smashed windscreen. What a massive problem that was as he collided with Komakopa. Wow. I'd love to see that from Komakopa's point of view. I will go back into Komakopa's view and subscribe to his channel too, because he is putting out some great content at the moment. But I think Nismo might be out of the race. I think he might need to get a tow back to the pit lane. That car is so severely damaged. Here he is, back into the pit lane. He will be losing a huge amount of time, and as that just let off Vic considerably. Vic with all the pressure now, but of leading this race by 18-19 seconds. It is building by the moment here for Vic on ahead of P2, and we'll have to track who is P2 at the moment. Vic is way out of sequence as usual, swimming his way through Coca-Cola Curva. This is perhaps the most rain we've had on the circuit so far, and we'll see if we find, well, Nismo's in the pits, Siam is in the pits, Preston in the pits as well. I don't see Chaotica. Let's try and find Chaotica and see if the, sorry, I'm talking about Komakopa, as Chaotica is in and then out of the pit lane. Shades of the Hockenheim Formula 1 race a few years ago. In, out, and shake it all about. That is Bongit then, running P9. Let's try and find you a driver who is managing to keep this car on the island for a few moments. 7.5 minutes remain of our racing hour. Komakopa seemingly at least getting the car up to around 150 miles an hour, getting the car stopped as well, as that's Chaotica with a Spinala at the hairpin at the start of the lap. This is Komakopa then. I wonder what just befell with Komakopa to have contact, such severe contact, that I'm wondering whether Nismo can even continue. Komakopa in P9. It doesn't appear to have been given a penalty for it, so the game not thinking that he'd done anything wrong at this stage. This is Preston in the pits, I think, getting tyres on, but of course we don't get an animation of the tyre change, which would be nice to see. But Preston's been in the pits quite a while, so it might be repair being actioned on his car, as Preston is P14. I think will perhaps not feature as the winner of class today. This is Timid Umbrian in the P5, scratched and grazed up BMW. There's a yellow flag being waved, so someone has had a problem heading on down. No, another green flag again by the time we get down to the corner, so that's a strange one. I didn't see a car off the circuit during that point. Getting a nice early turn in. All important there for Tim Nurburgring, trying to pick up 4th position. Mojo is 26 seconds in front of him at the moment. We really can't make any guarantees at this stage with the difficulty we are seeing, the handling with the cars. I think the rain may have stopped again though. Another fairly quick shower. It has stopped, so the drivers are kicking out spray from the standing water, but the windshield wipers are not operating, so the rain is no longer actively falling. Cam Ziller has inherited the lead. I don't know how. Vic has clearly had a problem, so Cam Ziller is into the lead of this race. Maybe Vic has decided to pit. He has decided to pit for a change of tyres, but he's almost going a lap down, so I'm imagining that this must be for damage repair on Vic's car, because Cam Ziller has just gone through past Vic. Vic dropping down the order, so is Nismo. This is one of those races that nobody wants to win, as Cam Ziller is now in P1 in class, number 20, the BMW racing in the red, white and blue. And he'll be hoping that for the next 4 and 3/4 minutes he'll be able to navigate, because the track is getting drier now at this stage, so he'll be able to try and generate some tyre temperature and move his way forward if possible. So Cam leading the race overall. That he's just catching Commentator in the distinctive colour scheme. And we have Priest in P7. Looks like we've got Larry in 4th now, Nate in 5th. So I think Nismo and Vic have remained on the provisional podium. Such was their advantage earlier on, but Rico is in 2nd, and we've got Mojo in 3rd. No, Vic has gone down to 10th overall. A huge change of fortunes in the championship. This is Rico in the Swiss flag wearing Lexus, and he is P2, doing a fantastic job out there, with just over 3.5 minutes remaining in our race. It is currently Cam Ziller in the lead by 27 seconds from Rico. From Mojo, a further 9 back. We have Larry in 4th, and then it's anybody's guess 5th onwards, but your triple race winner Vic is 10th at the moment. There is Siam getting some changes made in the pit stop. This is Nate in 5th. He's been off track, but not in a huge way today, and he's catching Larry now as we close in to the end of this race. So very well worth watching this battle, I think. Let's go really wide on the chase cam, shall we? Try and see as much action as we possibly can. That's Larry in front in the red line Porsche. Little cheeky downshift there, running through the Schumacher S, back up towards the top of the hill before we go through Kumho Curva, followed by Bit Curva. No obvious sign of a position where he is feeling comfortably faster than Larry. Larry getting great drive out of the Bit Curva, but then suffering on top speed a little bit, it seems. It does feel like Nate has got a slight advantage going on. Heavy on the brakes, very late on the brakes, considering the conditions, and he actually turns into the corner just to make the corner stick. Massive slide there, but he's sliding around and he seems to be making it work, getting a good late apex through Coca-Cola. This could be a challenge for 4th position coming from Nate. Just under 2 minutes to go, which should be the final lap of these drivers' race anyway, as they close in. And that was very different lines going into the corner. Now they'll end up side by side as they run into turn 2, and then followed by the second left-hander of turn 3. Nate on the inside. How late dare we brake? Well, we can afford to be slightly later on the brakes, and completing the overtake then. I do just want to make sure I can find our race leader, because he is, I don't want to miss him. Where is Cam Ziller at this stage? That was Vic in 10th after that impact and damage repair. Let's see. What have we got? Back to Larry, Commentator, Camzilla is first. I really just need to find Cam. Here he is. Camzilla rounding the final corner, but with 1 minute to go, he will not end up completing the race on this lap. So he'll be safe. Leader, final lap for Camzilla, and it doesn't operate like Gran Turismo. So the drivers finish behind the leader, as it should do, really, here when you go racing. Cam now feeling it with it all to lose at this stage. Last I checked, he was 27 seconds in the lead, but he may well be just taking it very easy to get this car home today. Tiptoeing his way around, doesn't want to bin a potential W tonight. Well, this afternoon for his racing time, tonight for Europe. But P20, car 20 is P1 at this stage, and just heading through Ford Curva. Rain light still flashing, still a little bit of spray kicked out from the back as we heavy on the brakes into Dunlop. Out very wide as well, getting onto the wet line, unfortunately. So I'll just be wary of that coming in through the Schumacher S. Taking a slightly wide line of the apex. Not sure if that's intentional or not, but powering then up the hill. Cam has driven a fabulous race to this point. That's Commentator. He'll be at least one lap down, but P9, having made insane contact earlier on. We've got to try and find that clip and see what led to it from his point of view. He was certainly wide on the track. Whether he actually was rejoining the track unsafely or he was just slow and taking his racing line, I do not know. Through Coca-Cola Curva comes Camzilla for the final time then of asking here today. A masterful performance through two wet showers. Camzilla wins the Nurburgring race here, round 4 of the championship. It looks like we've got a finish then for Commentator out there. Here comes Rico. He'll be finishing just behind Jim on track. Backmarker Racing crosses the line in 11th, but Rico debuts with us here and picks up the checkered flag and second position. Great racing from Rico. I think he's happy with that one, as we've also still got a car in the pits of Siam leading, certainly second in our GT4 category. Siam struggling, you have to say. That was Nate getting through. I think we've got a P3, and I think Mojo has picked up P3 now, thankfully. Mojo in third, so two debutants on the podium with us today. And then we've got Nate crossing the line in fourth. Behind him we'll have Larry in fifth, and I'll take you through those provisional standings, provisional finishing order at the end of the race. This is backmarker, no, that was Viciously Vic retiring the car against the wall. I think he's unhappy, don't you? As many drivers have gone back to the pit lane. That was Vic into the wall. Who else have we got just finishing on the circuit? That looks like Jim and possibly T Deeds and Bongit crossing the line as well. Let's take you through the finishing order prior to any steward inquiries. But there you just saw Preston coming home. Let's see, where was Preston in the end? Can we get a finishing? There he is. He finished fourth of the 5 cars in his class, so far from the results he was hoping for today. Camzilla then confirmed as your provisional winner ahead of Rico and Mojo. Nate is fourth, Larry is fifth, with Timid Umbrian in sixth and Bonga in seventh. Priest is eighth, Commentator is ninth, and then Viciously Vic 10th position after winning the first 3 races. A shocker by his incredibly high standards. Backmarker Racing finishing in 11th place in the GT4s and winning his GT4 category as well. Jim in 12th, Jim Arnott in 12th place, finishing second in class with Chaotica making the podium. Preston in 4th, Nismo gets the fastest lap but finished down in 15th overall. Not Siam was 8 laps down. And of course, I was your commentator for today. Thanks to everybody for watching, liking the video, doing all the good stuff with regard to the channel. I am super grateful for all the support and to be invited to talk my way through this fabulous ACC league. We will see you, I think, on May 17th. I will hopefully confirm that with a upcoming video on the channel, but thanks so much everybody for watching. Catch me tomorrow if you're watching today, but catch me racing tomorrow and then commentating as well. So subscribe to all the good channels, and we will see you on the next race day.